The time is now to architect a life of excellence. What will we do? Who will we become? We decide today. This is Learn, Do, Become Radio with April and Eric Perry. Let's move onward and upward together.
Hello and welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio. I'm April Perry here with Eric.
Hello everybody and welcome to the podcast today.
We are going to have some fun talking about this statement. I want to stop letting people down.
We actually had like 18 different names for what this podcast might be titled. I don't want to let people down. I want to be trustable.
Want more mental energy.
How to redecorate your kitchen. Maybe not that one. But honestly, we want to talk about the subject of helping ourselves become a little bit more structured, a little bit more organized so that we don't let people down and we also avoid or eliminate so many places in our lives where we are let down. There's actually a meme our teenage daughter, found on the internet that she showed to me and to April, and we thought it was kind of funny. And it was actually on the image of a funeral, so we mean no disrespect or irreverence toward funerals. They are very important family moments to celebrate the life of a loved one. I just want to caveat that because
You're right. Okay.
there might be some sensitivities out there. But the meme, and we actually had a designer redesign it a little bit for us. But it was this picture of pallbearers letting this casket into the ground, and it said simply this. And so just kind of take this with a grain of salt or with a little humor. It was intended. But it says, when I die, I want my group project members, now this could be a school project, a work project, community project, but I want my group project members to lower me into my grave so they can let me down one last time. And my daughter, she's been working on a lot of school projects in high school, middle school, and all of us, we've had experience.
Staying up till midnight because someone doesn't set or something to last minute.
And it's just, there's just always something, right? And it just makes our lives a little bit more difficult, a little bit more challenging, a little more frustrating than they need to be. And so I thought that was kind of a fun sentiment. The people who have let us down most in our lives should be there at that time where they can really let you down one last time.
Well, and I really think that this is something that is important for all of us to discuss because all of us have been let down at some point in our lives.
Absolutely.
And all of us let people down at some point. I think it's possible.
I was going to do this little informal survey with each of you listening to this podcast right now. Now, if you're driving or performing surgery, don't do this. But raise your hand if you have ever been let down. And then raise your other hand if you have ever let someone or a group down.
We have people all around the world right now.
With two hands up in the air. So, again, not if you're driving, not if you're performing surgery. But I think we fall on both sides of the matter, right? We've been let down, but we also have been the cause of being a letdown. We just want to talk about some principles about how we can avoid that. And maybe shape our lives so we don't get into some of those situations where either we let down or are let down.
Yeah, well, I think what typically happens is whatever side we're on, whether, we're the one...
The lettee or the lettor.
Yes, exactly. It causes stress for us. So I hear all the time people saying, I'm tired of running around putting out fires. I'm tired of forgetting things. I'm tired of dropping balls, right? Just running in circles. And there was this great, beautiful sentiment that was shared in our Facebook group for our productivity program from Jeanette. And she said, I want to stop the unplanned but preventable, and then in quotes, emergencies due to a lack in planning or communication. It feels like it is just one thing after another with my husband and I. With 4 adopted kids and 2 more after that, maybe that is how it is. But I feel like we are spending so much time staying afloat that there is no energy left for living. I want to reach my goals and teach my children to do the same. And I really zeroed in on that part that said, spending so much time staying afloat that there's no energy left for living. So maybe as you're thinking about your life right now, and as I'm thinking about my life right now, we're thinking, what are we doing that's causing us to just stay afloat? And how can we reduce that energy and time going into that and then instead spend more time living? I mean, that's what all of us want,
absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And that's where we're going to focus our time and energy on this podcast. But there's another phrase just after that caught my attention. Maybe it's the subject for another podcast, but it said, I want to achieve my goals, right?
Yeah.
I want to complete those goals and teach my children to do the same.
Yeah.
So along these lines, if we are able to structure our lives and be able to get the goals and the projects done the way we want, avoiding letting people down and avoiding the letdowns in those things, so we can get to those projects easier and better. Yeah. I think we have a more fulfilled life, but I love that last sentiment, and teach my children to do the same.
Me too.
If we develop these habits and abilities, we're going to be able to model those for our children. Now, you may have no children yet. You may have, children of all ages in your home, or you may be an empty nester. I think our ability to influence our children is lifelong. And so I think developing these skills, and we've talked about this on webinars as well, these aren't the skills that are typically taught in middle school or high school or even college, right?
How to be trustworthy.
How to manage your time, how to respect and manage the time of others, how to manage your personal finances, just taking care of the resources, these scarce resources we have. So we'll be doing probably some more follow-up discussions and posts on this type of stuff.
But what's so interesting is even though it's not being taught in schools or typically anywhere, this is critical to personal relationships, to your business, to any relationships you're going to be building, because all of us know how it feels to work with someone that you absolutely can't trust. And what would that do with a parent-child relationship? What does that do in a marriage? What does that do with a boss and an employee? I mean, if you can't trust the person and know that they're going to actually do what they say they're going to do, that I don't really know of anything else that weakens a relationship faster.
Right. I mean, these are some of the life skills for success that aren't developed enough. They're not taught enough. So not that we're the ultimate source of those.
Right.
But I think the fact that you're listening to this podcast right now will hopefully all learn something together and kind of come across some new realizations. And hopefully these will impact and influence how we live our lives, what we do in our different responsibilities and with our families, and how we kind of work on collectively becoming better.
Yeah, and we actually wanted to start the podcast out by making it perfectly clear that we don't think that we are 100% on this yet.
I have my left hand up for the number of times I've let people down.
Oh my gosh.
In fact, on this podcast, I hope I don't let April down. I hope I do well enough.
We are doing great. But honestly, I feel like there have been so many times in my life where, I have. And I just have a few examples to share because I thought that might be kind of fun. Because for some reason, I think people like to hear how other people
fall down and struggle and fail miserably.
Okay, so one story actually is one of my favorites. I had a final exam on a Saturday morning in college. Like, I don't know why they did finals on a Saturday, but it was 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. All right. So I studied the night before, then I went to bed, but my alarm clock had been moved. I think one of my roommates had borrowed it, and I plugged it in again and set the timer, but the AM PM was off. This was back before we had cell phones, the alarms. So AM PM was off. My alarm didn't go off. I woke up at 10:40. So not only was I late to the final exam, I missed the whole 3-hour final exam and didn't wake up until 40 minutes after it was over. So I had to call the TA and see if I could get into another one. I mean, they were so nice to let me go in with another class, but I totally slept through the whole thing. Or there's examples where I'll get a phone call from an elementary school teacher who's sitting at the office with my child and saying, "Hi, Mrs. Perry. Were you going to come pick up your child today?" I'd forgotten. I'd said
We're no, we were hoping you would keep them indefinitely.
Well, maybe the carpool person had said, "Hey, I can't do it that day." And I said, "Oh, great. No problem. I'll get it.
We'll pick them up when they're ready for college."
Forgot, right? So things like that. Or the dentist appointment where you get that phone call, "Hey, you missed your appointment today." And you're like, "Oh, man. I had to wait a month for that. And now I missed it. I've got to wait another month." There are things like that happen all the time. And so we don't want to make it sound like we never drop balls and we never have to put out fires.
We absolutely do. Earlier in our married life, April and I were part of a community organization, and we were actually asked to kind of help put on a dinner. And April actually was the more responsible of the two in this committee.
I love that you're telling the story. Okay, go ahead.
It's true. So I got back late from some of the stuff I was working on from work and stuff. But it was going to be like a big potato bar and a big event and all this kind of stuff. And so we were going to bring the potatoes over, bake them. Some of the people are going to bring some of the toppings and stuff.
Simple.
So I get there. I'm running a little bit late. So I grab the potatoes and we head over to the community center. And I'm getting ready to just throw the potatoes in the oven. And one of the ladies there is like, "They're awfully dirty. We should wash them." And so apparently there's all this prep work for potatoes, right?
Were you just going to throw the dirty potatoes into
the
oven?
I'm not sure what I was going to do. I will neither confirm nor deny what I was going to do with the potatoes. But we were going to have a potato bar, but there was a lot of outside help on what the potatoes should look like. So needless to say, I think the event started at 7.
Yeah.
And I think we got there around 6-ish before or after.
It was like 6:30 by the time you got there because I got home from work at 6.
Okay, so apparently I'm really letting people down here. We get there, we're scrubbing potatoes fast, throwing them in the oven, and I have no idea how long potatoes...
You did a good job getting those in fast, but
need to bake, but apparently they need to bake longer. So people are showing up there for the event, the activity and stuff, and really the potatoes aren't ready till what, 7:30, 8 o'clock?
It was really late,
But the capstone, not only am I the letter downer here, But there was like this whole subcommittee of people who were supposed to bring all these different toppings.
Oh, the attendees were supposed to bring toppings.
Well, they were all different assignments and
Right.
stuff. So they had known, I had known. Apparently, we're just all on our A game here. And I think we had what?
We had one bowl of broccoli.
One small bowl of
A
broccoli.
slab of butter.
And maybe some bacon bits.
And I think cheese. No, I don't think we even got
A little
bacon.
bit of grated cheese. So 75% likely the people who had assignments
there were like
to bring
80
things.
to 100 people there.
Did
No food.
Did the event come off okay?
Yeah, it turned out great.
No one died, but
And
yes.
we ate potatoes. They were a little crunchy.
So
but
we have
it was
let down
fine.
and we have been let down. And it's it's a theme that goes throughout life. So we just want to try to figure out how do we reduce
man.
the letdowns.
Okay, so maybe we should just go ahead and step into suggestion number 1, which is to say what you mean. All right, and I think you had another way of putting it. Maybe just being more selective.
I think just
on
being
what
careful
you
or
accept.
selective to what you agree to or what you accept in your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
If there's something that you really feel like you can't do or can't do well, convey that. And if there's someone better suited for that, I mean, you're not trying to shift pass the buck somewhere else, but if it's really not going to work or you're not going to be able to do it well, communicate everything fully so that,
Yeah.
the best decision, the best plan can be made.
Well, it's kind of like you wouldn't write a check that you didn't have enough money in your account to cover because you know it's going to bounce, right? And you go through that once or twice and you're a lot more careful. You check your bank account before you go ahead and write the check. Same thing where let's say a big opportunity comes and someone says, hey, can you help put on this class? It's going to be on the 5th. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have 300 people there. And you get so excited. You say, sure, I'd love to. And then you go check your calendar later that night and realize you're actually on vacation that week or something like that. There are so many times where we might just say yes to something because it sounds
but then
great.
you wait till the night before to email the person
But you
and
wait-
tell them that you can't do it.
Actually, right. So even things just like checking your calendar before you say yes, or don't make a commitment right then. For example, sometimes it's easy to say things like, oh, we should get together sometime this month for dinner. Okay, if I say to someone, we should get together this month for dinner, then I'm committing before the end of this month and probably at least a week before the end of the month so we could get the dinner in. I will have contacted you and scheduled it and we'll get together this month for dinner. If you know you're probably not going to get to it this month, then you could say, hey, we should get together for dinner sometime. I know we both have a lot going on. Let's follow up, in a few weeks. And then make a calendar trigger to follow up in a few weeks. It's just what we say, because I think a lot of times we'll say, oh, sure, we'll do that. Oh, sure, I'll do that. But you really don't have the bandwidth or the time or the inclination to do it.
Right. I think it's just being careful about the expectations we set. And it's
Yeah.
better to set no expectations than any expectation at all. And that's what I think what April means when she says is step 1 is say what you mean, or just manage those expectations carefully.
Mm-hmm.
And, I love the fact, April and I have a chance to do quite a bit of our work together. So wherever we're out and about, if we're out in different circles, and someone invites us to do something, I almost always say, that sounds interesting. Let me talk to my wife and get back to you on that.
Yeah.
Because our calendars overlap and intersect. We actually have a pretty good digital calendar management system
Yeah.
where I can kind of see her schedule and she can see mine. So we could, but I think it's just helpful to be able to put a pin in it and then come back and talk about it as a couple, make sure it flows into the schedule and what we're capable of doing and doing well
Yeah.
before we make any firm commitments.
And I like the way that you talked about making sure that the expectations are lower than what you plan to fulfill. So same thing, let's say you're doing a business contract with somebody and you say, oh yeah, I'll send over the contract tomorrow. Well, if you don't know if you're going to get to it tomorrow, you could say by the end of next week. Give yourself a really big buffer and then send it over tomorrow.
Give yourself
if you can.
adequate buffer.
Adequate
But
buffer.
I think,
okay.
it doesn't be really big, but I think you have a tendency to try to overperform.
I do.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but it can be exhausting, right?
Right.
And I think that you don't want to, be lazy, but you want to be able to manage expectations appropriately where you under promise
Yeah.
and over deliver. So if you say, it'll be by the end of the week, if you end up getting that out Thursday afternoon, great.
Yeah.
You've exceeded the expectation, but you've given yourself ample margin to manage what you needed to do.
Yeah, no, I think that's helpful because whether it's sending an email, whether it's mailing a contract, whether it's dropping a book by someone's house, you said that they could borrow, no matter if it's personal or business, we're making commitments all the time. I mean, your email inbox probably has 15 commitments in it today that you're going to do something or you said you take care of something. And so I think when we can be very, very selective when we're making those commitments, that's a huge first step. So essentialism.
Yeah. If
Have
you
it
haven't
in right
heard of
now,
it
yeah.
or haven't read it before, Essentialism by Greg McKeown is a great book.
Yeah.
Great book.
All right, should we move on to number 2?
We
this
should.
is to streamline your calendar. Now, this is a very simple thing, but the way I used to use my calendar is I would write everything that I wanted to do on my calendar page. That's including my task list for that specific day. So whether you're using a digital device or whether you have a paper planner, a lot of times we'll put 30 to 40 tasks on that day because those are things that we think we should do or what we like to do that day. And I'll ask people all the time, do you ever write things down in your calendar and then you move it forward to the next day and the next and the next and the next? And people always say, yes, all the time. That's how I live. I just move things around on the calendar. I think when we can really simplify our calendars, only put on there the things that we have to do that day, the absolutes. And then we have other parts in the system we can talk about as far as how you do the other stuff. But when you put all your routines on your calendar, all your wishes, all the things you want to do sometime this week, and everything's on today, that's when things start slipping out of the cracks, slipping through the cracks, even if you have the best intentions to do it. So,
yeah, absolutely agree.
All right, should we go into number 3?
Yes.
Okay, do a weekly review. Do you want to talk about best way you've enjoyed doing your weekly reviews or how you've enjoyed reviewing with me?
Why don't you tell me what I would say, and then I will say if you're right.
So Eric and I do a weekly review once a week. And we talk about what's coming up. We are looking at our calendar. We're looking at the projects we're planning for the week. And we're just kind of looking ahead. So when you're doing your weekly review, you'll often notice that when you see an appointment, let's say you have an appointment on Thursday morning and it just came up yesterday. And then you say, oh, I'd actually planned to go to Spencer's award ceremony. I can't make it now. Can you go ahead and take that, right? We have time in advance to discuss it.
Yeah, we found, I mean, for us working together, it really helps. We've enjoyed having our weekly review on Friday mornings. It gives us a chance, and I think we've talked about this on maybe a prior podcast, but being able to take Friday and look forward through that weekend and all the way through the next calendar week, through, Saturday, Sunday, you're kind of looking at your life 10 days in advance. So we spend like the first 5 or 10 minutes just going over a calendar and looking at some of these expectations or appointments or absolute things that have to happen at a certain time. And it is helpful to be able to manage and adapt and adjust. And in that Friday morning, we can actually, after the meeting wraps up, take 5 minutes and contact some people if we need to make adjustments in plans.
Right.
I love it when I can work with people who are letting me know what they're looking for, what they're expecting about a week out. If they can give me a week or more, that's great.
Yeah.
And if there's stuff that comes up even quicker, a faster opportunity or something needs to happen, then we can work around that. But it really is helpful to have your schedule fairly well firmed up or a rough structure a week out, because then you can put the rest of the things that you want to do and hope to do into that and know how to balance and manage your time. So that's just one thing that I appreciate or admire in people as I'm coordinating with them.
Yeah, and it's also been helpful to look at the previous week and see if there are any little tasks or commitments that we maybe didn't write down. Yeah, because when you can look back and you can make sure, okay, I've gathered everything I committed from last week. I've got that into my system. Everything looking forward, I know I've got to get the car repair done by Friday, and so I need to call the repair person by Monday. Anything that needs to happen. Because when Eric and I, as we're working together, if we can make sure that we have all these just details discussed early on, our weeks run really smoothly.
Yeah.
But if we ever miss it...
And you don't have to be on top, involved in everything, both of you. You can just say, okay, this thing, who's got it? And then all of a sudden that person will take it and run with it. Great.
Yeah.
And maybe that next weekly review, just make sure things happened, they got completed. But yeah, the weeks we missed the weekly review are weeks...
We're so grumpy with each other.
Well, the weeks just don't go smoothly, right? There's a lot of bumps.
Right, because I'll say, oh, Eric, were you going to take the boys here on Tuesday, or was I going to do this? Or wait, there's a basketball practice? Wait, I didn't hear about that. Things like that that we hadn't maybe discussed, and so...
Right. Well, another piece of that weekly review is, after that 5 or 10 minute, about a 10-minute calendar review for the upcoming 10 days, the week to 10 days, we also maybe spend 5 or 10 days looking at kind of a bigger calendar, an annual calendar we have on our wall, and look out maybe over the next 3 months and look at some of the bigger things that are coming at us, either, different plans, activities, events, maybe vacation, and just looking at, are there some things we need to do now or people we need to connect with and contact now, again, to give them that at least 7 days or more advance notice. Because we found our plans go forward much more smoothly if we're forward looking a lot further out and connecting and collaborating with people early on, so that when we get to those events, those times, things flow. They just roll right into them.
Well, I like how at the beginning you were saying that we want to teach our children, and we ourselves want to respect other people's time. Because I think sometimes if you feel like, oh, sure, I'll just throw it on this person at the last minute, they'll be fine. Yeah, but really you're messing up their plans or
Yeah.
they're changing
I mean,
things.
that event, that outcome is probably not going to be optimal. And I think what you're really doing is you're straining your relationship.
Yeah.
Like people just realize, okay, you're coming to me because you know I get things done, but you're hitting me with the last minute. It's throwing off my life rhythm.
Yeah.
Like there's just a lot. I think it's a lot more detrimental.
Well, and to be honest, I feel sad when someone makes an appointment with me or we have dinner plans or we have something that we're going to do together and then at the last minute they just say, oh yeah, sorry, something came up, I couldn't come. I mean, I understand that emergencies happen, but I also just start feeling sad like, well, did I not matter that much to you that you wanted to plan in advance? I don't know, should my feelings not be hurt?
I think I think it's reasonable, but I think, you know, like you said, life happens, and I just think that's probably why we're having this discussion. So those people who are listening, hopefully we become better at not doing that. You know, we kind of let people know that we can see, okay, I had, you know, something come up or have a dentist only can get me in that time and it's going to conflict with what we had set up. So
yeah, and I get it.
And you let them know, but I mean, you let them know with as much anticipation and foreknotice as you can.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Okay. So I think that this has been hopefully a helpful discussion for those in our community. I know that you and I together are trying to be on our game, not just because we want to be respectful of other people, but because it helps us trust ourselves. It helps us when we go to bed at night to know, okay, I've sent the emails I need to send.
Well, like you said with our children, you know, if they know
basics.
that they've asked us about certain things and we've responded, we've planned that, yes, if you need this or this for this project or this for this field trip or whatever it is, this team practice, they know that we've discussed it, we have it built into our system, and it's going to happen. I think it gives our children a greater level of confidence and trust in us and us with them. So there's a lot of power. So we hope that, again, going along with this meme that's out there on our post, that literally when it is time for us all to pass, that we just invite all the people we love in our lives to come to our funerals to celebrate a life well lived, and we don't worry about who's letting us down into our grave because, you know, we've managed the letdowns in our lives, those we have let down and those we have been let down by, to try to minimize that. And again, to April's point, we want to make sure it's very clear. We don't think we have, you know, it all figured out. There's still plenty of, you know, places where we're going to let people down.
Well, that's why we're talking about
We're
this.
looking to minimize, to reduce the number of times and places that we let down or are let down. And I think as we do that, we'll have happier lives. We'll have maybe better families and kind of better community experiences. I think we'll just be happier.
I agree. All right. Well, thanks for being with us. We're so glad that you're part of our community at Learn, Do, Become. We would love for you to come check out our Steps to Everyday Productivity program. We have been working on this and love it. Love the community growing there. That really helps us create a seamless system so we can have everything put together. We can have more mental energy. We can feel more excited about our lives and not just be trusted by others, but really be able to trust ourselves. So you can come to learndobecome.com/step and check out our webinar and come be a part of this fun community. Thanks, everyone.